My name is Eugene Davidovich. I'm with Cannabis for a Cause and Americans for Safe Access, and today we had a tremendously successful rally where the community united in opposition to the recent federal attacks against medical marijuana patients who are following state law. We all gathered for a rally at the federal courthouse today. It was a tremendous turnout. We had lots of folks there sending a strong message of solidarity with the patients that are suffering on these attacks, and we were able to organize and rally for almost an hour and a half right there on the federal steps of the federal courthouse. And after that, a lot of folks actually went to the co-op that's being targeted for shutdown by the federal government. But before we all went there, we found out some really good news. At the end of the rally, we found out that a judge, in fact, issued a stay on the closure of this co-op. So what we learned today is that the grassroots activism, the advocacy, and the work that all of us do, fighting it on the streets, fighting it in court, and fighting it in the legislature really works. Because today, a judge issued a stay on this issue. The co-op will remain open for the time being, and in the meantime, patients will continue to have safe access. But unfortunately, these attacks have not come to an end, and that's why it's critical for everyone out there watching this to get active and involved with Cannabis for a Cause, with your local chapter of Americans for Safe Access. Get out there on the streets, educate the public about this issue, and let's hold the politicians who are not respecting the will of California voters accountable for their actions. Let's hold the federal government accountable for these most recent attacks. Patients deserve safe access. Medical marijuana has and will be legal in the state of California, and what we need is support rather than this sort of attack on the most vulnerable in our community. Because at the end of the day, these federal attacks, these closures against safe access, they are only hurting those who the law was truly designed for in the first place: the sick, the dying patients, those in hospitals and convalescent homes. So everybody out there, get involved in your local community, get involved with our efforts, and let's bring safe access to California once and for all.
Sorry.
Medical cannabis has been legal for 16 years in the state of California. Multiple cases, including the appellate courts, have ruled that medical marijuana can stay legal in California. A lot of people, when they talk about the medical marijuana laws, they like to leave Senate Bill 420 out of it. Proposition 215 was not the only law that legalized medical marijuana. Prop 215 allowed patients to have it and asked for clarification from the state assembly and the state senate. And we got that clarification with Senate Bill 420 that clearly states that dispensaries are legal, that patients can associate in order to collectively cultivate, that patients are allowed to have ID cards to be able to prove to the police and others that they are legitimate patients. San Diego County tried to challenge this state law. They lost. And they started regulating themselves, dispensaries, right here in San Diego County because they had to. And now, instead of standing up against this federal attack, the sheriffs and the same county board of supervisors that regulated them in the first place are allowing the feds to come in and shut them down without even making one statement. That's why we're all gathered here today, to stand in opposition and to make that statement ourselves. State law needs to be respected. Medical marijuana is and has been medicine. Dispensaries are a legal way, a safe way, a regulated way for patients to get their medicine. Regulations, they equal safe access for patients and safe communities. And we see that. For the last year with the collective out in El Cajon with the cooperative that has been legal, inspected by the sheriff. Why are they going after them? It's completely ridiculous, it's unclear, and all we're asking for is clarification. We're asking for a statement. We want to know, why is it that Eric Holder is saying one thing and Laura Duffy is doing another? She has not responded to that. Eric Holder has not responded to that. The Obama administration has not responded to that. So when medical cannabis is under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. When medical cannabis is under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. When safe access is under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. And with that message, we are going to say send a strong message of opposition to Laura Duffy, to these attacks against patients. And before we get started with the chants and the rally, we want to have a couple of people speak and talk about some of the things going on with this closure. First, I'd like to invite Lance Rogers to come up here for a minute and talk a little bit about what the feds are doing right here and why this is so wrong.
Everybody hear me okay? Okay. All right. Well, actually, I'm just going to talk out loud. I'm not doing bullhorn. Again, my name is Lance Rogers. I'm a lawyer. I've been trying to fight this for a long time. This is Coy Rydell, who is on the board of directors of Mother Earth Cooperative. Coy is a former military. She has a medical marijuana recommendation. She is a legitimate medical marijuana patient. And about over a year ago, she and the other board of directors of Mother Earth Cooperative applied for a license to run a dispensary under the County of San Diego's program. They paid $11,000 to the County of San Diego. This money goes to law enforcement, to teachers, to fixing potholes. Over the years, they've paid thousands and thousands of dollars in taxes to both the state of California and the federal government to pay for law enforcement, teachers, potholes. Right now, they are facing closure. We're trying to do everything possible we can. We went to the state appellate court to ask for a stay of the eviction process. That was denied yesterday. We filed for bankruptcy today in the hopes that a federal bankruptcy court will allow them to remain open long enough to fight this just a little bit more. But if that's not successful, Mother Earth will be gone. Mother Earth is an endangered species. It was the last, to my knowledge, dispensary, at least in Southern California. There may be some more which are afraid to show their heads for fear of enforcement from the federal government. If Mother Earth goes, there is nowhere in the state of California, let alone the U.S. for that matter, to get marijuana. So if anybody here has a medical marijuana recommendation, in the state of California you have the right to use, possess, grow it, but if you are too sick to grow it, you don't have anywhere to obtain it. Before coming over here today, I called some nurses that I found on the internet, tried to see if any of them grew marijuana or anybody who knows marijuana. I made several calls. You could probably imagine nobody could refer me to anybody for medical marijuana. Nobody could wanted to say anything. So the argument that you can get this from a primary caregiver is ridiculous. Last week I was in court here in the county of San Diego for two cases. One was growing marijuana, 32 plants for 3 patients. Cultivation prosecuted by Bonnie DeMandis' office. I agree. The other one was a mobile delivery collective, okay? So the concept there is, okay, if there are no dispensaries, why can't we just as a group drive from one person's house to another? Well, because if you do and you're stopped along the way, you'll get charged with 2 non-reducible felonies by Bonnie DeMandis' office, possession of marijuana for sale and transportation of marijuana for sale. So again, my challenge to the federal government, to the county of San Diego, and to the individuals who are against access to medical marijuana or believe that there is some place to get it is, okay, where is that? If you can answer that question to me, I will, I'll come down here and do, I don't know, I'll do something embarrassing for y'all. But there is no answer to where can I get medical marijuana right now. I mean, you guys can use it, you can possess it, you can grow it. If you possess or grow it, they might prosecute you federally. But there is no place in the state of California, let alone the county of San Diego, where you can obtain it right now. So, again, to those individuals who are against it, who say, oh, well, this is just a ruse, this is just a way for people to abuse the system. Okay, Mother Earth was an ironclad program, okay? Mother Earth was licensed by the San Diego Sheriff's Department. Every seed of marijuana was monitored from when it was grown to when it was used by a medical marijuana patient. How could you abuse that system, okay? If you want to see who goes to Mother Earth Cooperative, go down there. There's nothing secret. Everything is completely transparent. There is no conspiracy going on. We know exactly who the board of directors are. You can go to the San Diego Sheriff's Department and ask them, okay? There's nothing hidden about Mother Earth Cooperative. If you want to see who goes to Mother Earth Cooperative, go out and stand outside and see who goes in and out. If this doesn't work, again, nothing works, and there will be no safe access in the county of San Diego. That's a real shame. It drives people to the black market. This was the Compassionate Use Act. It was supposed to be about helping people, sick people, feel better. There's not any compassion in what the Laura Duffy's office is doing, what Bonnie DeManis' office is doing. If you're charged with cultivation, transportation, or possession for sale, these are non-reducible felonies. I came across from state court this morning an individual, no prior record, stopped with some marijuana. I came out and I said, you know what, the offer is, it's a felony. What do you mean a felony? You know, I'm going to be a felon for the rest of my life. I'm not going to be able to vote, possess ammunition. I'm going to have my kids taken away from me. It's the process that is the punishment. So it's an issue that needs to be addressed first with the federal government. And unfortunately, we need Obama to stand by his word. We need him to, when he said that he would not prioritize, he would not devote federal resources to going after sick patients, for him to stand by that word. We need the County Board of Supervisors to back us up here. They passed this ordinance. Where are they? Okay. What's happening is here is the people who are in the middle of this, okay, are sick patients and property owners. They were set up by the County Board of Supervisors. All right. They followed the rules, and here we are. Okay. Where are our local politicians on this issue? It's not enough to be silent and just say, okay, I don't want to get involved in that. I'm happy to tell you behind closed doors that I support compassionate use, that I know people who are suffering from debilitating illnesses and use marijuana for relief. But out in public, oh, it's just too dicey, just too controversial. It's not enough. Now is the time to get active, to contact your local officials, to rally, to contact your friends, tell them what's really going on, because I mean, this is it. I mean, if Mother Earth Cooperative doesn't work, then there's no place for medical marijuana anywhere in the state of California. So get active, call your legislature, and do something.
Big round of applause for Lance Rogers, everybody.
We just need all your help and support. We really do. It's very serious.
Thank you.
This is a very serious issue, and there are legitimate patients right here who are currently suffering in pain that took the time to come out here to stand in solidarity with all of us, to show Laura Duffy, to show the U.S. Attorney General, to show that this is wrong, that these federal attacks must end, that patients deserve safe access, deserve regulated access right here, and they deserve a safe community. They also deserve to have their rights respected and not trampled on by somebody who is simply trying to overturn the will of the people. The law has been on the books for 16 years. One of the ways that we fight back is by organizing rallies like this. It is also by holding those that are responsible for this accountable. The prohibition groups, like that gentleman standing back there, was trying to get in on the news. You see that gentleman with the suit on right there? Yeah. That gentleman right next to him, that's not Chipman, folks. They came here to crash this rally. They came here to tell you that only Prop 215 is legal. There is no Senate Bill 420. That, you know, the state legislature, they can't really make their own laws and regulate safe access like they did years and years and years ago in 2003. So Scott Chipman, why? Why do you not talk about Senate Bill 420 in all of your statements? Sir, why do you not talk about it? You don't talk about it because you don't believe marijuana is a medicine. Neither of you are doctors. Neither of you are legitimate doctors that can say whether it's a medicine or not. Hundreds of doctors right here in San Diego at UCSD have proven that it is a medicine. Multiple sclerosis patients have no relief on the market that is better than smoked marijuana. Nothing helps them with their muscle spasticity better than smoked marijuana. Mr. Chipman, why do you want to take it away from the people that are suffering? You talk about regulations. You talk about we need, safe communities. Mother Earth's alternative healing has been well regulated, well documented for over a year. No incidents. Paid their sales taxes. Yet he is here with his friend over there to try to shut it down. That he is issuing statements in support of the U.S. Attorney's Office. This is wrong. They do not represent the community in San Diego. We do. Mother Earth does. The lawyers do. The patients that have come out to San Diego City Council meetings, 600 of them, and asked San Diego City Council to regulate. The 2,300 members plus that are members of this cooperative, legal tax-paying members of this cooperative. Another way that we fight for safe access is by writing our own law. working with our communities to develop regulations. And we did that in Imperial Beach. We put the law in the books. One of the reasons we made that happen was this awesome organization that we've teamed up with called Cannabis for a Cause. A lot of those folks are here. I'd like to bring up the executive director of Cannabis for a Cause as well as our lawyer, Rachel Skoma.
Can you hear me? Yeah. I have a question. Whose state?
Our state.
Whose state?
Our state.
Whose county?
Our county.
This has been the law for 16 years. We have been trying to regulate medical cannabis for patients for 16 years. And we had that here in San Diego County with Mother Earth. And we are so grateful for Mother Earth and what they've been able to bring to the community. And that is being shut down right now by Laura Duffy and the federal government. So I ask you, whose state?
Our state.
This is our state. The people of California voted this law in, and we will continue to vote laws in every municipality in San Diego County until they get the idea. Stop wasting taxpayer money and allow us to have safe access. Cannabis for a Cause is a lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgendered nonprofit. And we work on this issue in solidarity with our HIV/AIDS brothers and sisters, who 60% of them use medical cannabis for treatment. These are sick and dying patients who need their medication, who cannot cultivate on their own, who have a state law and local laws that protect them. And who is cracking down? The federal government. Laura Duffy, despite Eric Holder and his statements to Congress. So I say again, whose state?
Our state.
That's right, and I hope that we all work together to protect the patients and the laws that exist on the books right now, and that we go to Imperial Beach, Solana Beach, everywhere that we can to pass reasonable regulations for as long as we can, and we keep up this fight. So thank you all so much. And who here is from Cannabis for a Cause? Thank you all so much for being here.
Big round of applause for Rachel Skoma, everybody. Now, besides Imperial Beach, there are things happening throughout the county. The people are uniting, the citizens are standing up, and they're saying, we are going to create regulations. Citizens for Patients' Rights and the Patient Care Association ran initiatives in multiple municipalities outside of IB. They put it on the ballot in Del Mar, in Lemon Grove, in Solana Beach, and they're trying to make this change as well. They are trying to provide safe access. So if you live in those municipalities, make sure that you get out and vote for those initiatives as well. It's really important to bring safe access to San Diego, even if it takes going to every single voter ourselves and making sure that that voter comes out in November and votes in support of safe access and regulations. We have a lot of work to do before November, and we are not going to let them take our safe access away. So I have a question for you. When safe access is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When patients' rights are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When medical cannabis is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
We will continue fighting back until this ridiculous attack against patients is ended, until we have safe, reasonable, local access so that patients can have access in their neighborhoods and don't have to drive to Los Angeles, Santa Ana, or somewhere else to get a legal medicine that's grown right here in San Diego, right here, and allowed and recommended by their doctors and supported by our government. Why are our local officials not standing up to make a change and to help implement this law? We have to do it looks like. So, with the amazing work that we have been able to do in Imperial Beach and in other places, the reason we've been able to do it is because we have amazing organizers on our team. I'd like to bring one of them up right now to talk about a little bit about the awesome work that we've been doing. So, big round of applause for Jersey, everybody.
Before I talk about what we've been doing, Sam, one of our amazing organizers that Eugene was just talking about, Sam Spear, is going to help us lead a shame against Scott Chipman. You ready? Yeah. Shame! 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 We're talking to you, Scott! Shame! Shame! Scott! Where's your hand? Shame! Shame! Are you proud of your work, Scott? Shame! 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 Are you proud of yourself? Shame!
everybody that continues to come out to this. It's patients fighting for their own rights. It's allies that are standing with the patients. It's dispensaries that are fighting to stay open for the patients. It's doctors and lawyers and every single person here today that is defending people for their right to medicine.
Yes!
And one of those people that takes the biggest stance that I've ever seen in San Diego, and I work with a lot of organizers, is Eugene Kazinovich, and I would like to give him a huge round of applause for organizing this. State access in San Diego for as long as any of us have been. So, obviously, today is a big day, and you're all super appreciated for being here, except that guy back there. So when you walk by him, give him a shame. I know he's ignoring us. He's got a camera on him. He is a fancy guy in a suit. We have fancy people in suits too. We have attorneys. We have organizers. We have executive directors. We have every type of person. We have the LGBT community, which is becoming more and more taboo in San Diego to stand against. So the LGBT community is going to come out strong every single time to stand with medical cannabis. In the 1980s, when the HIV/AIDS epidemic spread across this country, HIV/AIDS patients in San Francisco, in the LGBT community, it was the first time the LGBT community was brought together when gay men, storefront owners, needed people to run their storefronts because they were sick and dying. They called on the lesbian community and the transgender community. Rachel said over 60% of HIV/AIDS patients use medical cannabis, whether it's to find relief from their harsh pharmaceuticals or specifically just from their pain. Over 60% use medical cannabis. This is an LGBT issue. We will continue to get more LGBT groups involved to stand behind this because the bigger coalition we have, the more power we will have. And we have organizers out every single day fighting on this, so if you hear somebody on the streets or you tell your friends, when you hear somebody that asks you, do you support medical cannabis, don't just say yes and walk away. Take a second to talk about them. They are the only people in the entire country standing on the streets every day canvassing with a clipboard and talking to people face to face for medical cannabis. This is new. It will move thousands of people in San Diego. In a year from now, because they are out there every single day, they talk to hundreds of people every single day about medical cannabis. So when you see them, please give them the time of day. Sign up to volunteer. Keep coming out to everything like this. And it's really important that we keep energizing Eugene because I don't know what the heck this county will do without him.
But the work that we are doing here would not be possible without all of you who showed up today. Now here's the other thing I want to mention real quick. Mr. Chipman and his other cronies over there, they come out to all of our events. We organize, we do phone banking, we put out flyers about our events, we get the word out, we try to get turnout, like campaigns do, like organizing is done in America. But what do? They come here and they steal from us. They come here, they pawn off of our organizing, our turnout, and they try to get themselves into the interview and in front of the camera and say, see, there is opposition to this issue because, we showed up. Look, if there was opposition to this issue, we would have protests here from the opposition. We don't have opposition to this issue. There's a couple of folks that are paid to be here to speak against us and to pawn off of the organizing that we do in order to advance their own issues. And the advancement of those issues is to shut safe access down right here in San Diego. It is to shut safe access to medical marijuana down throughout the state of California. And then they want to overturn Proposition 215 because they don't like it. They don't think that the will of the voters was what they wanted. So we're not going to respect it is what they're saying. That's wrong. What we need is safe access. What we need is reasonable regulations. What we need is our governments to step up and regulate this issue and not listen to the paid lobbyists and the paid prohibitionists that are sponsored by God knows who they're sponsored by, including the county, including special interest groups, including all those keeping this wonderful medicine illegal, and are coming out to do this against us. We've got to stand up, and we have to organize in a peaceful way. We have to stand up against them. We have to get out there and educate the community. We are educating the community every day. We are having face-to-face conversations with voters about this issue. It is on you to go out there and educate the community as well and have those face-to-face conversations. Otherwise, they will overturn the law. And are we going to stand for that? No! I can't hear you. Are we going to let them overturn the law? No! What do we want? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you, and I don't think Laura Duffy could hear you either. What do we want? When do we want it? Now! Are we going to let Laura Duffy overturn state law? No! Are we going to let her shut down safe access throughout California? No! Are we going to hold her accountable? Yes! What do we want? Safe access! No! Safe access! Why do we want it? It's the law!
And I'm actually a retired medical doctor here in San Diego for the last 30-odd years. And I'll give you guys some facts, because I don't know what you know and what you don't know. Firstly, we have to change the Schedule 1 drug aspect of it. You see, marijuana, take it from me and I know my stuff, it's just like spinach. You shouldn't have to regulate it. You should be able to grow it, sell it, and use it just like you use spinach. The reason being is because it's never caused any harm, it's never caused a DUI, and it's never cost the federal government a dime of anything associated with marijuana. You see, the problem is it's Schedule 1 drug. And when you have a Schedule 1 drug, you have to, as a doctor, I have to have a triplicate prescription to give it out. It shouldn't be a scheduled drug at all. Let me give you a few facts. Number one, you know, I first studied marijuana when my classmates in med school were taking marijuana and I never heard of it. So what happened was I went to the books. I read about marijuana. And I didn't think I'd be talking about it 45 years later when I'm 65. But here's the point. Number one, the British, when they had colonial India in 1896, they did a work because they thought that marijuana causes psychosis. So what they did is they studied it in depth, interviewing 1,000 people in India. And they found out that there's no evidence that it causes any psychosis. In fact, in the British Journal of Medicine in 1923, which I read 45 years ago, it's written that medical marijuana causes no problems whatsoever. In India, it's been used since 1500 BC before Christ. In India, where there's 1 billion people, it's totally legalized.
Wow.
In India, they studied it for 1,000 years already, and they've never found one little
What
drop
India after?
of marijuana. So marijuana should be sold, grown, just like spinach. It's quite obvious to me. And by the way, spinach has a vitamin in it called folic acid, and it prevents spinal dysraphism and cleft palate, and it's also excellent to prevent cancer, heart attacks, and strokes. So the point is, that's number one. Number two, in case you don't know, the California Medical Association last year, 35,000 doctors, 500,000 years of medical wisdom, state legalize marijuana. They're now trying to get the American Medical Association, a national 2.1 million doctors, to make it totally legalized anywhere in the United States. The point is very basic. You have to legalize marijuana, and it should be totally sold just like spinach, period. As for the medical aspects of it, I can only tell you it's been used for many, many years against the nausea from chemotherapy. Number one. Number two, it's an anti-inflammatory. Anti-inflammation for your there's neuro-target points in the brain, and that's how it works on Parkinson's disease, multiple sclerosis, and any inflammation in the brain. So as a medical doctor, that's how it works. It's an anti-inflammatory. Thirdly, it's used a lot just for recreation, and it should be used for recreation. If a person wants to use it, it's healthier than alcohol, tobacco, cocaine, heroin, and meth. It should be totally legalized. Last point is that I just want to say that so many people today would be alive, whether it be Elvis Presley or Marilyn Monroe or Michael Jackson, if only they had used marijuana. Marijuana's never cost one admission to an emergency room. I was the head of the emergency room for Roosevelt Hospital in New York City, and I have to tell you, we never got one case of anything to do with marijuana. So my bottom line is, totally legalized. Lastly, it's ridiculous. This stuff is U.S. Attorney here, Miss Duffy, wrote me 9 letters. I have personally got 9 letters from Miss Duffy because I own a building where I had 9 dispensaries in my building. And my point is that she said if I don't kick them all out, the bottom line is she's going to take away my building. So I had to evict all the tenants. My point is very basic. We have to totally, and the only people that are really profiting from marijuana, and everybody should know this, is 2 basic people. Number 1, the Mexican cartel, a terrorist organization that impacts our national security by putting in 400 and 600-yard tunnels where they have 34 tons of marijuana next to the tunnel. They're the ones who are profiting from it, and they just burned 190 tons of marijuana about 6 months ago in Tijuana. The second person who's really being helped by having marijuana illegal are the for-profit corporations that run the penitentiaries. The more prisoners they get, the more money they make. And they go to the federal government and say, we need more prisoners in order to make more money. And therefore, we want to keep the drug war strong, and we want to keep marijuana illegal so they can increase their profits. Those are the 2 main entities that are making money. The last point is that if a person wants to take marijuana today in San Diego, you don't know the quality you're getting. You have no idea what's in it besides you get it on the street. And secondly, there's a lot of crime going on because of that fact. It should be totally legalized and sold, grown, just like spinach. No taxes. No taxes because of 2 reasons. Number 1, spinach is not taxed. No food is taxed. Secondly, no medication is taxed anywhere in the United States. So thank you very much. My name is Steve Greenwald, and it should be just like spinach. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you.
Now we have some representatives from the co-op that has been trying to be shut down here to tell us some news. Let's round it up right here. Let's hear what Clay has to say.
We just got the 45-day stay. We're open for another 45 days.
That is great news, and the reason that happens is because when medical cannabis is under attack, what do? And when you stand up and fight back, both in the courts and right here, and against this oppression, we win. Because the right side of the law is safe access. The right side of the law is regulations. Like the gentleman that just spoke, he talked about marijuana is a medicine. It has been a medicine. Nobody's died. Landlords, doctors, and council members shouldn't be targeted and threatened just because they're trying to regulate it. And I don't say if, I say when the federal government legalizes marijuana and reschedules it, medical marijuana patients who use this as a medicine are still going to need to face regulations and are still going to need to go to their city council members and make sure that safe access through a dispensary or some other safe location is provided to them. And unless we create these regulations right here in our own communities, nothing happens, even if marijuana is legalized. because it's still not legal in the state for recreational use. It's still not legal for any other use. It's still not available locally for patients who need it. The sick and the dying in the hospitals and the convalescent homes are not getting it. And having it at a liquor store with a six-pack of beer, although absolutely that's an awesome thing for, you know, our economy and everything else, but that does not help us get it into the hospitals and convalescent homes. So marijuana definitely should be legalized, but the patients' rights are what need to be protected and respected right now. Today, there are patients right here with us. The law has been legal. It will continue to be legal, and I want to invite everybody, especially those that are qualified patients and those that aren't qualified patients, to still go over there and check it out. You should go out to Mother Earth, out in El Cajon at 8157 Queen Street, and go check the place out, see what they're all about, see how transparent they are, see how regulated safe access happens in San Diego County by their own rules. We didn't create these rules. The county created those rules that these folks are following. So I urge everybody to go out, join that co-op if you're a patient, get your medicine from them, and definitely go out to the city council meeting if you live in Solana Beach tonight. Let's make sure that we get safe access on the ballot in November throughout San Diego County. So I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out here today, for standing in solidarity with us, with the medical cannabis community, with the LGBTQ community, with all the patients and all the concerned citizens who believe in safe access, who believe in this law, and who believe all the doctors that have conducted the studies that say it is a medicine. It